belong to those who invest in knowledge, and SISB is leading that charge. In light of this, we issue a buy recommendation at 32 Thai baht with 27% upside, driven by, first, high demand from Thai and Chinese students, second, ample available capacity, and lastly, higher profitability leading to ROE growth. Now let's start with SISB business fundamentals. SISB Public Company Limited is the largest international school operator in Thailand with 7 campuses and 4,197 students. As of 2023, it generated 1.9 billion revenue, making it a market leader with 6% market share. SISB achieved this due to its strong brand equity, driven by 3 factors. First, a trilingual curriculum. With Mandarin as essential, SISB fosters Chinese-speaking environment with 20% of students is Chinese. And secondly, its proven academic placement with 52% placements in STEM. And lastly, its brand recognition backed by being in the industry for over 20 years and rapid campus network expansion. Next, let's take a look at the industry landscape. While Thailand birth rate has declined at 4.5% CAGR, international enrollments, on the other hand, remain strong, growing at 6.6% CAGR in the past decades. This is driven by smaller and wealthier families, as evidenced by 10.2% CAGR over the past decades. Now, SISB strives in the growing sectors with opportunities to capture a long-term demand. Now, is SISB a good investment opportunity?
Definitely. Supported by our first investment thesis, the twin engines from Thai and Chinese demand, we see SISB is well positioning in a different strategic location in each campus to capture the rising demand from local and China's. So firstly, start with the local demand. The 3 main campuses of SISB located in Bangkok and then Nonthaburi. As we see, the number of the competitors from the major international school is high, but we still see that SISB can capture the high number of the students. Like we did our own field analysis to confirm that SISB is located in the affluent residential area. So as a result, the average house price around SISB campus in each campus is at the price of the 10 to 20 million baht. We see there's the target of SISB to capture of this high purchasing power targeted. Moreover, in the outside Bangkok campus, we still see that SISB has located in the low competition area with a low number of the major international schools. We see that in this area, like the price of the house is lower, but this can compensated by the number of the house units surrounded by SISB campus within the 5-kilometer radius. Like to step further, we understand that SISB have a different strategy to approach into the 2 different areas. The area inside Bangkok, we see SISB offering the trilingual school curriculum like within that area. Moreover, they're surrounded by the truly premium gated communities, like for these people to capture like this market. Moreover, they have a strong reputation to capture the number of students. In that area outside Bangkok, we see that SISB is the first mover to taking advantage for the lower tuition fee. They are the only international school that provide an affordable price for their students into the new market, especially in the Rangsit campus that they lower the tuition fee to 30% discount. So we see this is the strong demand from the local. Let's step further, like to the second engine, the Chinese demand. We see after Chinese curriculum restrictions, like the trend of the educational transit hub is emerging. We see the growing number of the Chinese students in SISB since 2022, and we see this trend is continually growing. So the next question is, can SISB capitalize on this demand?
And the answer is yes, with ample capacity funded by low capital expenditures. Looking at SISB is in a well position to capture these demands as according to the guidance of management, with up to 9,500 seats, its ongoing plan of expansions. SISB trying to prioritize on the high profit margins campus such Thonburi, and Prashautit. Let's looking back at the past acquisition of SISB. The school has developed a strong mutual benefits with real estate developers, as evidenced in 39% discount price of land acquired in Nonthaburi. This has led to an outstanding return on equity at 33%. So let's move on to the company profitabilities. SISB has shown a robust, strong net profit margin at 34%, which is significantly higher than peers who offer trilingual curricula at 19%. And the major cost driver of the international pool is cost of providing service. SISB has continuously improved its operational efficiency to reduce this part of the cost, as evidenced in 16% lower than peers of this cost. This is due to two major reasons. First, diversification of workforce nationalities. Second, the growth rate of revenue per student that is growing at a faster rate than teacher wages. In terms of the company ROE in the blue chart, we project ROE to further rise up in the future, mainly because of net profit margin and stable asset turnover, which will further confirmed by two drivers. First, we expect high secondary enrollment by 2031, which will account for 27% of the total student body. This will significantly impact SISB revenue, since tuition fee in secondary level is 64% higher than that of kindergarten level. Moreover, we expect SISB to achieve superior fixed cost to total cost ratio, since the past expanded capacity will gradually ramp up and reach to economy of scale. So we expect the net profit margin to rise up to 58% by 2031. The key questions become, is this investment the right price?
3. We projected a strong revenue CAGR of 14%, driven by first, the utilization rate ramp up, second, the capacity expansion, and third, the pricing optimization. With this growth outpacing the total expense growth of 9%. As a result, we projected a margin expansion across all matrices of SISB. Therefore, a free cash flow strong growth. And using our DCF valuation method on the free cash flow to equity, with a cost of equity of 11.2% and the terminal growth rate of 3%, we initiate a buy recommendation based on the target price of 32 baht, with a potential upside of 27%. This is further validated by our sensitivity analysis on both the cost of equity and the terminal growth. We also construct a football field analysis to further validate our DCF price range with other multiple valuation approaches. We also concerned that investors might want to look at a relative valuation standpoint for a wider picture, which is telling a similar story, where SISB is currently undervalued when you look at the PE premiums against global peers and PE to growth ratio.
We have conducted a bull and bear case analysis. In the bull case, we expect a 60% upside potential. The bear case implies 27% downside, mainly from the regulatory crackdown, China restriction, and economic downturn. However, the probability is highly unlikely. Next, we have identified two key investment risks. The first one is the poor academic performance, which can be mitigated by tightening the admission. The risk could result in a slower student growth and tuition-free growth, resulting in 17% of downside potential. The next one is the removal of China restriction, which can be mitigated by targeting more on Thai students or leveraging on agencies. The risk could lead to a slower student growth, resulting in a 3% downside potential. Lastly, as ESG is concerned, SISB tried its best to become a green school. However, a key consideration remains that 57% of the share are held by only two major shareholders. Now, our honorable judges, it's time to enroll SISB in your portfolio with a buy recommendation. Thank you.
With this one, I start. I think this is a very strong buy case. Okay, I have two questions. Is it possible to do a margin expansion is actually too bullish? Considering I have no idea when you were talking about pricing power in the future, I would imagine the gross margin at this level very high will invite a lot of competitors. It will drive gross margin down. And particularly your new projects, the halving, right? Actually cut the price significantly. How can your margin pull up? That's one thing I wanted to hear from your thought. Okay. And another thing I'd like you to help me address is on the key risk as well. When you talk about the regulatory risk, the crackdowns of whatever happened, you explained, right? What about the tax risk? The school don't pay any tax, right? If they happen to have to pay tax 20% like others, because going forward, this is end up like very commercial, right? So the government is just coming down to them. And how would it impact your call? Yeah, two things.
Yes, so I will be happy to address the first question about the margin expansion, and my colleagues will further elaborate on the second question regarding the tax. Slide 106, please. So we construct a margin bridge, what the net margin bridge from the net margin growth of 2023 to 2031. Most of the margin expansion that we forecast come from high degree of operating leverage. We currently, 2 out of the 6 campuses of SISB still have a really low utilization rate with approximately 20%, and we believe that this will ramp up into 80% in the future as demands flow in. And as a result of degree of operating leverage, this would save us SG&A to revenue ratio, which is the main driver of this margin expansion.
For the second question, I will address on that point. During the IPO process of SISB, there has been raising concern whether SISB should liable to pay tax or not. And currently, since the company listed, there has not been any further concern about this issue, and my colleague Thaika will further address on what are the potential downside risks in terms of financial impact if they have to pay tax liabilities.
As we see that as one of the major investment risks, so we have take that into account and conduct the valuation impact. And if SISB have to pay 20% of tax rate, it will result in a 0.08% downside from the current target price.
May I ask quickly why it's very little? 20% hit on earnings is only lower your target price by nothing.
This is based from the current price of 25.25 baht, not our target price.
So it's from upside 20%
Yeah,
down
so-
to negative.
Yes, so it will be a reduction of about 27% from our target price.
Okay.
My question would be, is there any quality issue from having high mix of Chinese students, and how is this compared to peers of international school, your competitors?
So firstly, we see like this, they're offering the trilingual curriculum. So the more Chinese are coming, will like fostering this trilingual environment in the school. And if you like, we see that the group of the parents who want their kids like to study Mandarin like as an essential in the trilingual curriculum. So we see this advantage one and a disadvantage of the Chinese students. And even if like the quality of the education is concerned, we still see they still get the accreditations from the 3 main of the organizations that can confer the single control from these standards of the SISB, like quality of education.
Allow me to add on a little bit on that point. We have also concerned the quality, which will compensate with the quantity of new Chinese coming in. The management aware of this point. So from 2023 until now, the company tried to put more stricter process during the admissions to carefully screening the quality of Chinese students coming in. Furthermore, they also provide language learning center to help them adjust to our curriculum as well.
And what is your mix of Chinese students at the terminal?
Yes, let me address the question. So the mix of Chinese at the terminal is projected to come up to 30% of the total student distribution.
It's quite big. So if in this environment, right, how do you think the impact on slowing China economy going forward? And if I ask you this, right, every 5 percentage point decline in your Chinese student mix, how would it impact your margin? How would it impact your earnings and valuations?
Okay, so I will address the first question about the Chinese economic condition. With the current tariff on China, we projected that there will be a slight economic downturn, of course, in China. Therefore, it leads to risk, but we also see an opportunity because the risk is from the reduction of the economic activities that may cause an economic downturn. Therefore, there might be a slower flowing of Chinese students. But if we take a look, Thailand is considered one of the cheapest point of entry compared to other countries when looking at international education. So there could be a spillover effect from a more expensive areas of education into Thailand, especially SISP, who have the core competency of value for money.
And for the risk of the reduction in number of quantity of Chinese students, that would be similar to our projected risk of the removal of Chinese restrictions, which we will address further on what would be the impact in terms of the price.
Okay, as I mentioned that the risk removal of China's international school restriction will lead to a 3% downside for the valuation impact.
Do you have the forecast for earning per share for the next year? Like, what's the percentage of growth for earning per share for 2026?
We projected a strong earning per share growth of roughly 20% from previous year of the year 2022. 2023.
My next question would be, if there is a strong demand from the Chinese families, why SISB need to do the halving project, the new model? Why they don't just repeat the success of the existing model, or the existing model just doesn't work anymore?
Allow me to take that question. We see that SISB is aiming to target both Thai and Chinese students, where Chinese students would be, the demands from Chinese students would be flowing to its existing campus, and we see that SISB is trying to target more Thai students. That results in the halving project. SISB is trying to increase the total addressable market of its share, so that it's trying to lower its fee to target those students who are currently in the English program in Thai curriculum school.
Like, to address more in these questions, we see that the distributions of the SISB right now is from the local students. From the local students, and with the strong demand in the strategic locations from our own field analysis, we see that this growing of the local students who want to be in the international school is still growing and expandingly more in Chinese. So we see the halving project is introduced to capture the new market of these students by lower tuition fee.
On the key assumption, what is your forecast for the teacher salary growth for SISB?
We use the historical teacher growth of the teacher wages as a base of our assumption on this, which stands at 4%.
What are the youngest age that one could enroll in SISB?
The youngest age would be 2 years old, which can enter in pre-kindergarten level.
And under SISB portfolio, which age is most concentrated as a major part of the revenue?
The most concentrated part of the students is the kindergarten and primary students. Thank you so much.